the idea behind the project and what we're trying to establish. And
Yeah.
maybe you can say something about, I don't know you. I just heard about Josh that you connected, uh, and I saw your traveling the world movies, which was really cool to see.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess I reached out to Josh because I don't know if you know Brian Franklin,
Yeah.
um, but I was doing work alongside Brian Franklin and I interviewed Josh, and that's how I know him. And basically, um, probably why Brian mentioned that we should talk is because I've been doing this travel hacking thing for about a year,
Mhm.
or just a little over a year, where I flip basically credit cards in order to get air miles that I can spend so that I don't have to pay for flights or just pay little amount.
Cool. Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you get credit cards with the different banks where they have this program, and then you just buy stuff with them, so you earn miles.
Yeah. So basically, there's a website called cardsfortravel.com,
Hmm.
which I tried to duplicate, which I can tell you about later. I talked about that
Hmm.
with Josh, but um, cardsfortravel.com, and it basically lists a bunch of credit cards and a bunch of credit card offers. And typically, what you do is you say, okay, you pick out a strategy. It's like, I want to have domestic free flights, or you say, I want to go to Europe for, one time, or I want to do an around the world trip and do multiple countries. And the reason why you have this strategy is because,
Pascal, you cut out for like 20 seconds
oh
after
dear.
after you said like you have to do, and then you like cut out.
Okay. You have to have a strategy. So
Hmm.
there's three different strategies that I created or think of.
Hmm.
So you either fly domestically,
Hmm.
you either buy like a round trip ticket to a country,
Hmm.
or you plan for an around the world trip ticket. And all of them require different strategies in terms of what credit cards you apply for and how you're trying to accrue miles with different airlines.
Gotcha, gotcha. So the round trip, is it domestically or international flights?
International.
Oh.
So um, one thing that I noticed when I was planning my around the world trip was first I wanted to see, I just basically wanted to go to Thailand. And
Hmm.
I found that if I used miles to go to Thailand, it'd be like 100 or 120,000 miles.
Hmm.
Um, and then I looked at how much an around the world ticket would be, and that's between 140 and 200. So I basically said I might as well buy an around the world trip ticket than waste most of my miles on a round trip ticket to just one country. Um,
Cool. So around the world is like different stops and then coming back to the same location.
right. So you get seven countries um,
Cool.
that you can, or seven stops
Hmm.
with one open jaw, which means, like, for example, I could fly into Germany and
Hmm.
then fly out of Italy. That's
Okay.
an open jaw. And
Gotcha.
then everywhere else, you have to fly in and fly out of the same airport.
Hmm. That's cool. Okay, so you have like three different strategies which you have to decide before you apply for the credit cards. And
Right.
once you picked one, you choose the credit cards. Is that listed on the cards for travel website?
No, they basically just list all the different cards. They don't really, I don't think they talk about the strategies at all. Uh, for example, like let's say all you wanted was a bunch of free domestic flights because
Yeah.
you do a lot of traveling in the US.
Hmm.
So there's a bunch of different cards that achieve that purpose.
Hmm.
So the best one, and I'm not well versed in the domestic flight stuff because I don't do that much
Yeah.
domestic flying.
Mhm.
I've gotten a lot of flights for free, but I mostly focused on international flights
Yeah.
because that is the best bang for your buck that you can.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah. But anyway, so like for example, Southwest has a card
Hmm.
where you get the card, and it depends on the offer, but sometimes they might say like, okay, all you have to do is spend $100. All you do is pay the $100 annual fee, and you
Yeah.
get 50,000 points, which gives you basically 2 to 3 domestic flights in the U.S.
Wow.
Which, if you think about it, is $50 for a round trip ticket from like anywhere in the U.S. Go to
Yeah, that's
California to Maine, and it's
by
50 bucks.
by just signing up for the credit card.
Yeah, signing
Hmm.
up for their credit card and spending $1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Southwest. Okay, cool. Sounds
Um, so that's typically one where you have to pay the annual fee, which is $100.
good. Mm-hmm.
But it makes sense because it's way cheaper than
Then buying the flights.
buying the flights.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you cancel the card after the year, or what do you do with
yeah,
it?
I basically cancel the card before the year ends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, there is one thing to note, which is um, when you're booking flights with award miles, you
Mm-hmm.
don't get like the same. You have to like book more in advance, or you basically have to hope that the flight doesn't sell out
Mm-hmm.
because the airline will open up whatever remaining seats they haven't sold to
Yeah.
award ticket people like a couple days before the flight.
Mm-hmm. Is there like a special website where you can buy flights with award tickets?
No, you just do it through the normal website. Like if you're spending United miles, you'll go to united.com,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then there's an option that says um, award travel,
Mm-hmm.
and you just yeah spend the points.
So you look up the flight and which you like, and then you pick the airline that has your award ticket, like award points.
Yeah, well, so basically, like if you go into united.com, you type in like, okay, I want to go from New York to California, and then there will be an option like use award miles or something like
Mm,
that, and you click that button, and then it'll only show you the search results and tell you how much each thing costs.
that sounds good.
Yeah.
So if you, that's the question I was wondering is if you have like you get this points for a specific card, can you only use it for like American Airlines, or which is it only one airline, or is it like One World, Sky?
So yeah, so it really depends on the credit card, and so one thing I'll say is that there's a very clear distinction. I didn't realize this when I first started, um,
Hmm.
but let's say you get United Miles and Delta. I think they're in the same alliance. Doesn't
Hmm.
matter. Let's say they're in the same alliance, United and Delta.
Yeah.
If you have points in both of those, you can't just transfer them. I can't say okay, I have 30 in Delta and 80 in United. I'm gonna bring my 30 from Delta and bring them over. You
Mm.
can't do that. But where the alliance stuff comes into play is that if I book through United, um,
Hmm.
and United itself doesn't have any flights available, they go to their alliance. So there might be a Delta flight that is free, and so I would take a Delta flight,
Okay.
even though I spent United air miles.
Yeah, gotcha. So it's
Um,
it's more advisable to like get points only for one airline.
exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Is there like the best one, or what is your experience with that?
so yeah. So first, I'll start by saying like I have a strategy where I basically just get points and everything. Like I haven't really been that targeted,
Hmm.
just because I'm just going to continue getting more cards and spending them. But there are United is probably one of the easiest ones to rack up points in
Hmm.
because Chase offers so many credit cards, and it's easier to get credit cards from Chase than let's say American Express.
Hmm.
Um, so Chase, yeah. Let me just go to cards for travel to look it up.
Hmm. Let me do the same.
Um, so something, yeah. So Chase has a bunch of cards like the United Mileage Plus Explorer. They have the Chase Inc. Bold business card. They have the Chase Inc. business card. They have the Chase Sapphire business card. All of those points go to United.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like really easy to earn a bunch of points on United. One thing that I do is I always advise people to have one or two primary cards,
Yeah.
and then you have all of these other cards that you flip. So I personally have my American Express
Yeah.
that I use as my primary card, and then I have my Southwest card that I have as my second primary.
Which
So
one?
basically, Southwest.
Southwest. Okay.
And the reason is because I find that Southwest is cheaper to spend points. Like it may only cost 8 or 10,000 points
Yeah.
versus a bunch of other sites might cost 25 or 30 for the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I like American Express because you have the option when you collect American Express points to spend those points. American Express is one of the very few cards that lets you transfer your points to a bunch of different airlines.
That's cool.
So I right now have 150,000 American Express points. I can choose to put them on Delta. I can choose to put them into like a hotel rewards points.
Mm-hmm.
I can put them in Virgin, I think. There's a bunch of like things I can transfer them to.
That's
And
awesome.
that's why I like American Express, and they also give a lot of points. So
That's perfect. So
for
you
everything to
si-
spend.
that's the one that's on travel cards for travel. You find that one, the American Express?
Um, yeah. I mean, there's a couple from American Express. So
Yeah.
American Express has like the Delta Sky Miles card, which I haven't gotten yet. But I just get the standard American Express Gold card or
Yeah.
Platinum.
Gold
Um,
card. Okay. Yeah.
yeah. And those have an annual fee, but to me, it's worth it because they issue out so many points for groceries and gas and
That's
um,
perfect.
that kind of thing.
Okay. Awesome. Like you said, for domestic, it's best to get the Southwest. Is the American Express then for the international? Because I think for our project, it will be great to have both, actually.
Yeah. So for me personally, it's worked out that way. Um, I also have used like U.S. Airways and stuff like that for domestic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really, like kind of what I did is I just got 5 different credit cards within my first 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I racked up all the points, and because I had so many points in all these different airlines, I could basically check and say like, so I booked a flight to Hawaii for
Yeah.
$10, and I spent 37,000 points
That's
uh,
awesome.
in January of this year.
I love that.
Basically, yeah. So basically, I went on to like United.com, U.S. Airways, um, Delta, and checked and like to see how many points it would cost to go to Hawaii and how
Yeah.
many points it would cost to go back. And I found out that if I booked round trip with one airline, it would cost me like 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
But I basically found that if I booked one way to Hawaii, it was 12,000, and if I booked from Hawaii back, it was 25. So it cost me 37,000 in total with 2 different airlines instead of one
Gotcha.
airline and 50,000. So those are kind of like different ways. Like if you have a bunch of points and a bunch of like if you kind of like use the strategy I have, it works in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even 50,000 points for and $10 to go to Hawaii was, I mean, that would be worth it too. That'd be
Yeah.
one credit card if you think about it.
Sounds pretty good. So you basically get like 5 credit cards or whatever amount, and then you just start spending money on them.
Kind of. So the primary and secondary card I use
Mhm.
for everyday spending.
Okay.
Um, but all of the other cards that are like my churn or flip cards,
Yeah.
um, those I basically meet the minimum spending requirement, and
Yeah.
then I don't use them again for the rest of the year.
Okay.
So
And you
they
cancel
might
them.
have yeah, basically before the year ends. So you might have to spend 2, 3, or $5,000 in a 3 month time period,
Yeah.
um, and that's yeah. Then I don't touch it. It makes sense to um, there is like a lot of stuff about credit scores, and I told Josh
Sure.
about this. Is like there are a couple things where you have to like make sure you pay them on time. That you're um, there's a couple things about like if you spend $1 every month and you have a
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 credit line every month,
Mm-hmm.
um, that boosts your credit score because you're not using the whole amount that you've been given.
Okay.
So let's say you have a credit line of
Mm-hmm.
$20,000 between, 5 cards that you have right now. If
Mm-hmm.
you spend 18,000 of the 20,000 every month,
Yeah.
um, that's not as good for your building your credit score as if you spent $10 out of the
Yeah.
20,000, because the credit card companies think like, oh, he has all this credit line, but he really just needs a little bit, and it's not as risky for us.
Yeah.
Um,
Makes sense.
but a lot of this stuff, like I was mentioning to Josh that it's just really good to be on top of all of this because you are working with credit scores and you can
Yeah.
fuck up.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah, mortgages and loans and how much, yeah, stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's good to know. Gotcha. I think that's the gist. It's really interesting.
I have one more note that's on the top of my head is there's typically like when you cancel cards, you can basically say like, hey, I really like the card, but I don't like the fee. Is there any way you can give me a free card, or you can offer me any miles to like stay around? Because otherwise, it's not worth it to me.
Gotcha.
And you read online, it hasn't happened to me yet, but they'll offer you. I mean, I've been offered stuff like 5,000 miles to renew with like a $99 annual fee, and that's
Yeah.
not worth it. If they'd offer me like 30,000 points or more, it'd
Mm-hmm.
be worth it to me. But so sometimes they'll offer you more miles, or they'll offer you like a free card,
Yeah.
and basically you want to keep free cards because you don't have to have an annual fee, and it builds your credit line, so you'll
Yeah.
have a higher credit line. Um,
And why is the higher credit line important?
so because of the if I'm spending $10 out of the 20,000,
Mm-hmm.
credit card companies think I'm not as risky. I don't need, I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And you
that.
can apply for more and better cards.
Yeah. So like as you build your credit score type thing, like people I've read online that basically if you have a bunch of free cards, you should have like if you pay for Spotify or Pandora or something that has a monthly recurring thing, just
Mm-hmm.
charge it on that one credit card and have it on auto pay.
Mm-hmm.
And that way like you're just constantly building credit, you're only using a small portion of that credit card's credit line, um, that
Gotcha.
kind of thing. But it does there's like a line. Your credit score also has part of your credit score is how many times you've applied for credit cards.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, for example, my credit score is in the mid 700 range. I think it's like 750 something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one, like, if I look at my credit score at like freecreditreport.com,
Mm-hmm.
the I'm green in all of the areas except for this like credit check one, which is in red, which means like it's not good, and it's because
Okay.
I've applied for over 9 credit cards over the last year.
Yeah.
Um, so that like I think that covers like 15% of my credit score or something like that. So that brings it slightly down, and that stays for I don't know how many months. But that's why there's strategies of like people applying for credit cards um, all in one day, like getting 3 or 5 credit cards all in one day, because credit card companies like they check your credit score all on the same day, so the database thinks that it was only checked once instead of if you checked once every day for 5 days.
Okay. And then it just increases by one.
Yeah,
Interesting. So when starting out, you apply for 4 or 5 credit cards in
that's what
one.
I did. That's
Yeah.
that's what I read online. That's what I did. And then after I applied for a couple, then I started doing one by one, and that's where all the um, inquiries to my credit came in.
Gotcha. Cool. You said that you're working on like building a similar website to the Cards for Travel.
Yeah, I was trying to. I was talking about it with Josh. Um, Basically, credit card companies are catching on. I was trying to build an affiliate program to
Hmm.
where if you basically apply for a credit card off of cardsfortravel.com, he gets affiliate miles
Of
for each
course.
person that applies for the credit card. So basically, I was building out a site where you would put all these credit cards, and you tell people which ones to apply for, and they apply through you, and so you get all of the affiliate bonus miles.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So basically the same stuff
yeah.
he's doing. Sounds good. Yeah, if you need any help or we can contribute, let us know.
Yeah, I was trying to build it. I told him one of the problems I had was you need a certain number of visitors, you need a certain number of credit card applications um, through your website,
Yeah.
and they wanted something like they wanted a high amount. And for me starting out, I basically said, oh, I built the site and everything, and I had like the lead generation and the drip campaign all set up, but at the point it was like it didn't make sense to put in that much time for just to get miles.
Yeah.
That's when like the return on investment and time didn't make sense for me. But I'd be like, I have all most of it done, and I could port it over, or um, yeah, it
Okay.
was my goal to get a bunch of affiliate miles. Uh, but if we can figure that out somehow, that'd be
Yeah.
ideal. But
Yeah, why not? Let's keep that in mind. Maybe we can serve there.
cool. Anyway, I have a
Give
call.
back.
I have a family call now. Is there any quick question you have before I hop off?
Yeah, is there like a one-stop shop like information where is condensed information like the how-tos?
Um, okay. So I've been to cardsfortravel.com. Um, there's also I'm at first I'm gonna say no.
Hmm.
Um, there are a couple books. I might be able to send you a link.
Cool.
Um,
That'll be great.
Credit card. I have in my Dropbox. Um, Credit card flipping. Okay. Here is the link. This probably takes like 45 to 75 minutes to read.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it basically, that's what I read to get started.
Cool.
Um, so, and then, so there's like the travel hacking cartel. Uh,
Cool.
I would say start with that like PDF. That was like the most insightful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
no worries.
Then I don't want to like waste your time anymore. And Nomadic Man, thank you for that too. And yeah, like one last question I would have is like I'm German too from nationality. Are you German? How
Yeah,
do you do it to apply for credit cards? Are you
I have both passports.
okay? That makes
So I'm an
sense.
American citizen now.
That makes sense.
So doesn't work if you're
Damn it.
not from Clubhouse.
All right. Yeah, man. So thank you
So
again.
yeah, I hear you're going to
It's
be
awesome.
here sometime soon. I'd love to link up, and I hear Josh is going to be in Colorado soon.
Yeah, I'm coming out to Colorado probably. Color. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know yet where, but we'll keep you posted for sure. It will be awesome to meet up, man.
Badass.
We love.
Cool.
Ciao,
I'll talk to you
man.
soon. See
Take
ya.
care.